Now, the revelations of corruption at the National Lottery keep piling up. Lottery money is meant to go to good causes, but GroundUp journalist Raymond Joseph has for years been reporting that money meant for things like pit toilets, schools or drug rehabilitation centres has been diverted to enrich people known to the Commission or directly linked to the Lottery Commission. In its latest report, Joseph reports that money that was intended to rebuild a Limpopo school that had been gutted by fire was instead used to buy a 3.5 million rand house on a golf estate for a lottery boss. The Special Investigating Unit, meanwhile, told Parliament earlier this year it had already identified 300 million rand in lottery funds that had allegedly been misappropriated. To discuss, we're joined by GroundUp journalist Raymond Joseph. Raymond, thank you for being with us, as always. You follow the money here and say that lottery funds ultimately bought a 3.6 million rand house in Peakenwood Estate for Commissioner Tabang Mampane. What evidence do you have?
So I've been working on this story for quite a long time. The background is working through bank statements from an NPO. It was in fact a dormant NPO that was used to get lottery money to rebuild a school in Limpopo, which had burned down during there were quite violent riots over the incorporation of different municipalities into one in Limpopo. There were problems with the school. Within 2 years of the school being built, it started cracking. It had to have all kinds of structural work done. Following from that bank account, the money arrived and the NPO was called Simba. It was run by a boxing promoter with absolutely no experience whatsoever in construction. The money was paid in, I think it was August. I don't have a note in front of me. It was around August 2016 to Simba. They immediately paid on money to a company called Upbrand, which is closely linked to the Chief Operating Officer of the lottery, Philemon Letwaba. The money then flowed from there it was then paid on to transferring attorneys who handled the sale and transfer of the house.
It's just incredible. If true, and there is a disciplinary process. I mean, this was in 26. So who linked to this alleged corrupt deal is still at the National Lottery?
Well, no one at the National Lotteries Commission has yet been held to account. As you said, over 300 million rand, and bear in mind the SIU investigating at least 50 different grants. That 300 million comes from 12 grants only. I must tell you that this is the fourth house that I've discovered with people linked to the lottery and lottery funding that has either been built or bought using money actually meant for good causes. In another case, money for an old age home bought a house for a former board member. Alfred Neville Tando, who's the former chair of the lottery board. A house was bought by a company of which he's the sole director. Paid for a luxury mansion in Pretoria. You know,
Philemon Letwaba, the COO. I know it's incredible what we've discussed before as well. Also, the money that was diverted from pit toilets, desperately needed. So, Philemon Letwaba, you suing him for defamation. He said you're disgruntled because you don't get lottery money or you wanted to in the past. He sued you because of your reporting. Where is the whole legal battle there?
So let us just be clear. I was a board member of the Big Issue South Africa, which had previously received lottery money. It's a disgrace that a job creation project like that no longer gets lottery money. When I started doing these stories, they could they couldn't attack the facts, so they attacked the journalist. The reason that I am suing Philemon Letwaba is he on television made demonstrably untrue statements, that were in fact lies about that very fact that I'm a disgruntled lottery beneficiary. Never received a cent from the lottery personally. The big issue of which I was on the board did, yes. So the matter's wending its way through the courts is all I can say.
What about the prospects of prosecution here? Because the SIU said it had these dossiers of evidence. They would be handed over. Do you know where that is?
So, look, understand that the SIU is not a prosecutorial authority. They can't prosecute. All they can do is get back money that was lost to corruption. So they are working with the Hawks. I think that's a question you need to ask the Hawks and the NPA. I don't see anything happening. I really don't at the moment. I think the NPA is a bit overwhelmed with everything that's happened, but we are talking about the 300 million rand is just a drop in the ocean of what's going on here.
Yeah. Well, that was my final question. I mean, give people a sense from your reporting how brazen and how rife the corruption was. It sounds like in most cases an NGO received some money, it did some work, but shoddy work if anything was done, and a huge piece of the pie was just siphoned off, dished out to all and sundry involved.
So if the best example I can use is the lottery funded 6 old age homes and 4 drug rehabs. This is at least 3, some of them 4 years ago. Not a single one of them has ever been completed. In many cases, the site has been abandoned, and the main reason it's happened is it ran out of money. You know, you can't build something when all the money disappears.
And how much money are we talking about? Millions in most cases.
Tens of millions. No, tens of millions. Tens of millions. It's exactly what happened with this. With the school is money didn't only go to pay for the house in Pekinwood. Money went to all kinds of other companies and people that had absolutely nothing to do with the rebuilding of the school for which it was intended. Tens of millions disappeared.
Thank you for that update, Raymond Joseph, GroundUp investigative journalist. And yes, we will follow the prospect of prosecution. The SIU did speak to Parliament earlier, saying that it had seen masses of evidence of corruption, alleged malfeasance, and it would be handing over the evidence to the prosecutorial authorities.